Long before flags and empires, the land itself chose its winners, carving coastlines, rivers, and mountains into the blueprints of power. Separated from mainland Europe by the English Channel, Britain's island isolation offered natural defense while its deep natural harbors enabled global naval dominance. Formed by ancient tectonic collisions and later glacial carving, the terrain hid vast coal and iron deposits beneath rolling hills. This mineral wealth, paired with a temperate maritime climate perfect for year-round productivity, fueled factories that powered the Industrial Revolution and, eventually, an empire spanning a quarter of the globe. The United States sits between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, natural moats that protected it from invasion for 2 centuries. The Mississippi-Missouri River system, formed by retreating Ice Age glacier, created the world's largest interconnected inland waterway, linking farmland to ports cheaply. Combined with the mineral-rich Appalachians and Rockies, and temperate climates supporting massive agriculture, this geography gave America unmatched internal trade efficiency and resource independence unlike any other nation. China's heartland formed around the Yellow and Yangtze rivers, whose fertile floodplains, built from thousands of years of silt deposits, sustained one of the earliest agricultural civilizations. The Himalayas, Gobi Desert, and Pacific coastline created natural barriers that shielded early dynasties while forcing internal unity across diverse climates, from subtropical south to arid north. This geographic cocoon allowed uninterrupted cultural continuity, fueling population growth that still anchors China's global economic power today. Much of the Netherlands sits below sea level, reclaimed from marshland and sea through centuries of dikes, windmills, and polders. Formed on a low-lying delta where the Rhine, Meuse, and Scheldt rivers meet the North Sea, the terrain forced early mastery of water engineering and maritime trade. This necessity-driven ingenuity, combined with a strategic position facing the Atlantic, turned a flood-prone lowland into the 17th century's dominant global trading empire. Japan sits along the Pacific Ring of Fire, where colliding tectonic plates created steep volcanic mountains covering most of the archipelago. Only 15% of land is farmable, forcing intense agricultural efficiency and coastal urbanization. Surrounding seas historically isolated Japan from invasion, preserving a distinct culture while enabling selective trade. This mix of scarcity and isolation later pushed Japan toward hyper-efficient manufacturing, transforming geographic limitation into one of the world's leading industrial economies. Italy's long peninsula juts into the Mediterranean Sea, formed by the collision of the African and Eurasian tectonic plates that also created the Apennine Mountains running its spine. This central position gave Rome access to trade routes connecting Europe, Africa, and Asia by sea. Fertile volcanic soil around Naples and the Tiber River supported dense populations, while natural harbors enabled naval expansion, allowing Rome to project power across 3 continents for centuries. The Nile River flows northward through the Sahara, fed by monsoon rains and glacial melt from the Ethiopian highlands and Lake Victoria. Annual floods deposited nutrient-rich silt across narrow banks, creating a thin ribbon of fertile land surrounded by uninhabitable desert. This natural corridor concentrated population, trade, and governance in one predictable strip, allowing ancient Egypt to build monumental architecture, centralized administration, and lasting cultural influence still visible along the river today. Germany occupies the heart of the North European plain, crossed by the Rhine, Elbe, and Danube rivers that historically linked trade from the North Sea to the Black Sea. Formed by glacial retreat and ancient river deposits, the Ruhr Valley's coal and iron reserves fueled rapid industrialization. Central location made Germany both vulnerable to invasion and ideally placed for trade, a duality that shaped its turbulent history and eventual rise as Europe's economic engine. Russia stretches across Europe and Asia, its vast plains formed by ancient glacial retreat leaving few natural barriers except distance itself. This sheer scale, combined with brutal continental winters, historically defeated invading armies from Napoleon to Hitler through attrition alone. Siberia's taiga forests and river systems hold immense natural resources, from timber to oil, while the flat terrain enabled centralized control over an empire spanning nearly twice the size of the next largest country. India's northern border is sealed by the Himalayas, the world's youngest and tallest mountains, formed by the ongoing collision of the Indian and Eurasian plates. This barrier funnels monsoon rains onto the Indo-Gangetic plain below, creating some of the most fertile farmland on Earth along the Ganges and Indus rivers. A long coastline positioned India along ancient maritime spice routes, blending immense agricultural capacity with trade access to build enduring civilizational and economic strength. Sri Lanka sits just off India's southern tip, formed from ancient Gondwanan continental rock and shaped by monsoon winds that made its ports a natural resting point on Indian Ocean trade winds. Its central highlands, born from erosion-resistant crystalline rock, create diverse microclimates supporting tea, spices, and gemstones. This positioning turned the island into a crucial maritime crossroads for over 2,000 years, connecting Mediterranean, Arab, Chinese, and Southeast Asian traders long before European empires arrived. Spain occupies most of the Iberian Peninsula, bordered by the Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea, with the Pyrenees Mountains sealing it off from the rest of Europe. This dual coastline, formed by tectonic uplift millions of years ago, gave Spanish sailors direct access to Atlantic winds ideal for westward exploration. Combined with centuries of seafaring knowledge from Mediterranean trade, this geography launched Columbus's voyages and built history's first truly global colonial empire. Brazil covers nearly half of South America, dominated by the Amazon Basin, the world's largest rainforest and river system by volume, formed over millions of years as ancient seas retreated and rivers carved through tropical bedrock. This biodiversity hotspot holds a fifth of Earth's freshwater and immense agricultural potential in surrounding savannas. A long Atlantic coastline enabled colonial trade, while vast interior resources have positioned modern Brazil as a rising agricultural and industrial powerhouse. South Africa sits where the Atlantic and Indian Oceans converge near the Cape of Good Hope, a route once essential for ships sailing between Europe and Asia before the Suez Canal. Ancient geological uplift exposed the mineral-rich Witwatersrand Basin, yielding some of the world's largest gold and diamond deposits. This combination of strategic maritime position and extraordinary mineral wealth built colonial fortunes and still anchors South Africa's role as Africa's most industrialized economy. Australia is the world's only nation that is also a continent, formed from some of Earth's oldest and most stable geological crust, rich in iron ore, coal, and rare minerals. Its extreme isolation, surrounded entirely by ocean, historically limited outside contact but later became an advantage, protecting supply chains and enabling unique biodiversity like marsupials found nowhere else. Vast arid interiors and mineral wealth now fuel exports that power industrial economies across Asia. Switzerland sits entirely within the Alps, formed by the same tectonic collision that created the Himalayas, leaving a landscape of steep valleys and natural mountain fortresses. This rugged terrain made large-scale invasion impractical, historically preserving neutrality through centuries of European conflict. Limited farmland pushed the population toward precision manufacturing, watchmaking, and finance instead. Central European positioning, without ocean access, proves that isolation and defensibility, not coastlines alone, can still build lasting global influence. From frozen tundras to tropical crossroads, geography quietly authored every empire's rise. Comment your favorite and subscribe for more hidden stories.